They thought he was weak, just an old man with some shiny medals. Easy target, right? What they didn't know was that someone was watching, someone trained to protect, someone they never should have messed with. Before we dive into this unbelievable story, drop a comment below and let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you love gripping tales of bravery and justice, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a story that keeps you on the edge of your seat. It was a bright afternoon at the palace gates. Tourists gathered, snapping photos of the towering white walls, the golden spires gleaming under the sun. Lined up near the entrance, the royal guards stood motionless, their uniforms crisp, their faces unreadable. They weren't just there for show. Among them was James Holt, a man trained in discipline, precision, and defense. For years, he had stood at this very spot, his duty clear: protect the palace, never react unless ordered, never break formation. But today was different. Across the street, an elderly man stood alone. He wasn't just any old man. His jacket was adorned with medals, proof of a life spent in service. His posture was proud, but age had caught up with him. He leaned on his cane, his steps slow but steady. That's when they appeared. A group of 4 men, dressed rough, eyes scanning like predators. They weren't tourists. They weren't here to admire the palace. Their attention was locked onto the old man, Marcus Turner. At first, it was subtle, a sneer, a whispered joke, a mocking laugh. Then, one of them stepped forward, blocking Marcus's path. "Nice medals, old man. Bet you think you're something special, huh?" Marcus stopped, his grip tightening around his cane. He'd seen punks like this before. He had faced worse, much worse. "They're not just medals, they're stories." The thug rolled his eyes, smirking. "Oh yeah? Stories of what? War? Sacrifice? Like anyone cares." James Holt watched from his post, his training forcing him to remain still. But something deep inside him was stirring, a warning, a gut feeling he couldn't ignore. Escalation, the line they shouldn't have crossed. The tallest of the group reached out and flicked one of Marcus's medals with his grimy fingers. "Feels real. What do you think, boys? Maybe we should take one as a souvenir." That was it. Marcus jerked back, his voice still calm but sharp. "You don't touch these." But they weren't done. One of them stepped behind him, shoving his shoulder. "Relax, Grandpa. We're just having fun." Marcus stumbled slightly, his cane barely catching him in time. And that's when James moved. Gasps erupted from the crowd. A royal guard never moved unless commanded. It was an unspoken rule. But James, he wasn't just any guard. His voice cut through the noise. "Enough!" The thugs froze. The crowd froze. One of them scoffed. "Oh, look, the palace statue speaks." James didn't flinch. His eyes were locked on them, steady as stone. "He asked you to let him pass. That was not a request." The leader of the group stepped forward, sizing James up. "And what if we don't?" Bad question. Before he could react, James moved with precision, grabbing the thug's wrist before he could swing, twisting it into a painful lock. The guy yelped, dropping to his knees. Another thug lunged from behind. Big mistake. James ducked, spun, and sent him stumbling into a nearby bench. The third tried to charge, but before he could get close, James stepped in, deflecting his attack with ease. It wasn't a fight. It was a lesson. The aftermath. They weren't done yet. The remaining thug hesitated, glancing between his fallen friends and the unshaken royal guard before him. James took a step forward. "You want to try too?" They bolted. Marcus thought it was over. He thought they had learned their lesson. He was wrong. A few nights later, he noticed something. Unfamiliar faces outside his apartment. Shadows lingering near his door. The feeling that he was being watched. Then, his phone rang. It was James. "Sir, I need you to stay inside. I'm coming." James raced through the streets, his heart pounding. When he arrived, the thugs were already inside. They had kicked open the door, thinking Marcus was alone. They were wrong. James didn't give them time to react. One thug turned, too slow. James dropped him with a single move. Another tried to run. James snatched him back. The last one, the leader, tried to pull a weapon. James? He was faster. Within seconds, the fight was over. Sirens filled the night air. The police stormed in, cuffing the men who had thought they were invincible. Back at the palace, James was called in. His superior, Captain Quinn, folded her arms. "You broke protocol." James nodded. "I protected a citizen." A long silence. Then, Captain Quinn sighed. "Sometimes, the right thing is bigger than the rules. No punishment. Instead, a medal. And Marcus, he was honored right beside James." Some people think power is about strength. Some think it's about fear. But true strength, it's about standing up. Marcus fought for his country. He thought his battles were over. But respect is something you still have to fight for. James Holt knew the risk. He took it anyway. Because when honor stands against cowardice, honor always wins. If you believe James did the right thing, hit that like button. And if you love stories about justice and courage, don't forget to subscribe. There's more where this came from.